Africa needs to invest more in upskilling its young people to prepare them for the jobs of the future on the back of the rapid technological advancements. This is according to Chido Munyati, head of Africa at the World Economic Forum. He told SABC News reporter Glorious Sefako-Musi that the African Continental Free Trade Area holds great potential to grow the economy and create jobs, but non-tariff barriers need to be addressed.
To the end of the week of the World Economic Forum in Davos, we'll take a look at what happened throughout the week. We heard about how Africa is making progress in terms of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, which is set to hold so much hope for Africa to be able to develop and industrialize. But we understand that there are issues that still need to be sorted out, like non-tariff barriers, like we need to invest more in our youth. We need to invest in manufacturing capacity to be able to, take our minerals, not just export them, but to also manufacture goods that we can trade with the rest of Africa and the rest of the world with. To talk to us more about developments this week, we are now joined by Chido Munyati of the World Economic Forum. Thank you, Chido, for joining us. Let's take us through what have you seen this week? Is there commitment to make sure that the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, actually we do benefit from it? And I understand, I listened to a session where it was said that if we don't make sure that these things materialize that we talk about, we will remain a continent of potential and not actually realize the potential that we've been talking about. What's been your view?
No, I completely agree with that sentiment. If we don't create a single market for the trade in goods and services, if we don't aggregate the continent and leverage economies of scale, we won't be able to build the industries necessary to absorb the fastest growing population in the world. Between now and 2060, 1 in 2 people born will be from Africa. So obviously we need to build a jobs engine, and the AfCFTA is exactly that. This week at the World Economic Forum, we convened again the Forum Friends of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. It's an initiative that we've been mobilizing for the last 4 years, where we mobilized the global private sector to make commitments towards implementing the AfCFTA. And one of the announcements we made this week was an initiative called ADAPT, which is effectively a commitment to support the digital trade protocol, where we're bringing partners together in the digital space to create a blockchain digital infrastructure backbone to support with AfCFTA digital trade. So to enable payments across borders seamlessly in multiple currencies, to allow for verification of documents, etc. So as you said, the AfCFTA is critical, especially as trade partners reconsider access and terms. If access to external markets becomes less and less predictable, the only hedge or bet against that is for us to trade more amongst each other, move up value chains, as well as build resilience at home. So the AfCFTA, to your point, is our best bet.
So our youth is also seen as a big positive for the continent, but the question is, are we investing enough to make sure that they actually develop the kind of skills of the future that we've been talking about to take advantage of this potential that we have?
We need to invest more. I don't think we are investing the quantums that are necessary to realize its potential. Skills are changing very quickly. According to World Economic Forum's Future Jobs Report, 40% of the current skills for the existing economy are going to shift. They're going to change. We're at a critical junction point now where we're seeing the rapid advancement of exponential technologies such as artificial intelligence, which are poised to change economies and societies. And so we need to invest more and more in skilling young people, giving them access to data, giving them access to opportunities to create and innovate. And the good thing now is that with these large language models such as ChatGPT, data is no longer gate-kept. Anyone who has access to a mobile phone can access data, can access information, but in order to build the advanced and sophisticated products, we need more people trained in terms of the digital skills going forward.
So in terms of investments, we understand that Africa, there have been reports that Africa pay more. When we need to borrow money to invest in our countries, we are paying more. In the discussions that you've had, do you feel there's been movement in trying to move away from this for Africa to get fair capital to invest in their economies?
No, you're right. I mean, the Africa perception risk premium makes it very difficult and costly for African countries to raise capital, to invest in infrastructure, and to invest in skills, as you mentioned. The good news, of course, is that Africa as a continent, we have about $800 billion that's locked up in pension funds. So, for example, the PIC in South Africa. But a lot of that money is being invested externally. And I think what we need to do as Africans is to now saying, okay, how can we invest that money locally? If we start to invest some of that capital locally in our own infrastructure, I think it will then enable us to attract more capital from external markets and build confidence in our own markets.
Chido Munyati, thank you very much for joining us. That was Chido Munyati, the head of Africa at the World Economic Forum, just taking us through what discussions that have been held this week on how to take Africa forward in terms of investing in our economies to try and create jobs for young people.